What does history tell you for the final time trials in the Tour de France?
It is getting desperately close here. Armstrong is the winner of the time trial. He has achieved yet another page in this fairy story that just goes on. Armstrong rocks and rolls his way home here now. He wins the time trial, and look at the speed. That is the second fastest time trial ever seen. Armstrong finishes best time.
You look at that face knows what pain is all about. This is an unbelievable ride, and listen to the crowd bring the American champion home.
There's no argument who the champion is of the Tour de France for the 4th year in succession. Lance Armstrong is now sure of making it 5 in a row.
The joy is there. Rarely do you see him just show this kind of emotion. That's for him and that's for the team.
Lance Armstrong was looking to make it a personal best 5 stage wins at Besançon in the final time trial and extend his lead over Ivan Basso in the process. Basso, meanwhile, had Andreas Klöden to worry about, just 1 minute and 2 seconds behind him, while Jan Ullrich was looking for a titanic performance to pull him up from 4th. As we join the action, those 3 men are already out on the 55-kilometre circuit around Besançon, and Lance Armstrong is about to join them.
Concentration on his eyes. He knows history is about to repeat itself if he can win this, because over the last 6 years he has always won the final time trial, except once, and that was last year. But look at this, new best time at 18 kilometers. Jan Ullrich has gone through there with 23 minutes and 30 seconds, but only, Phil, 7 seconds faster than Floyd Landis. As we look back there, we've got confirmation that at point number 1 in the time checks, Andreas Klöden is just 4 seconds slower than his team leader and team captain, Jan Ullrich. And here is Vladimir Karpets, and this is going to be a fabulous ride by the Russian rider. He's going to come up and get himself inside of the top 10. He's not going to knock Floyd Landis off the top of the overall lead for the time trial so far this afternoon, but he is certainly going to post a very fast time indeed. And this, I think, this ride for Vladimir Karpets here, when he stops the clock inside of 1:10.22, it's going to give him the win in the Best Young Rider competition. Retain this name, put it down somewhere and remember it, because Vladimir Karpets is only 23 years of age. I think he will come back in a couple of years' time to seriously challenge at the top end of the overall classification. This is a young man with a future. This looks like the legs of a certain Armstrong. Where's number 1? So at the first time check, it's Ullrich, 4 seconds ahead of Klöden, 4 seconds ahead of Ivan Basso. Basso has done a fabulous ride.
He certainly has in the opening 18 kilometres. It was a little bit hard, those opening 18 kilometres. It might favour more Ullrich now. Armstrong has just arrived as we watch him. Clock has stopped. Best time, 22:47. That is amazing. 22:47. The first 4 riders at 18 kilometres are the first 4 men in the Tour de France.
This is Andreas Klöden.
Well, Paul, he was 4 seconds behind Ullrich, and now he's falling a little bit away. He's now gone back 17 seconds, but he's holding Ullrich in his sights.
Well, I think this is a remarkable performance by this man as he comes up towards the second time check at 35 kilometres at Courcelles. It's an indication that he's riding very well indeed.
Here is Lance Armstrong. Look at the crowd as they bring him through here. 42:31, and best time for Armstrong with just about 20 kilometres to ride. 42 minutes and 31 seconds.
As we go back a little bit further down the road to Thomas Voeckler, and Voeckler is coming into the finishing straight with a time well outside that of Floyd Landis, 1:15. His yellow jersey, white jersey dream, I think now, Phil, unfortunately over.
It looks as though Voeckler now has lost his jersey well and truly. He's coming in with a time more than 6 minutes slower than Vladimir Karpets, who finished with a 1:10.04. Voeckler now, and you can see by his placing, it's a time which says, my body has had enough of this year's Tour de France. I've done my best, and it wasn't quite good enough to take home a major classification. He gets an incredible cheer, but that's all, I'm afraid. The white jersey has gone 6 minutes and 26 seconds slower today than Vladimir Karpets, who will get the white jersey. Well, Jan Ullrich is the man who's powering his way through. He is setting up the trailblazing, but Lance Armstrong is wiping him out when he comes through, and it looks as though Cloden is also closing in on him rapidly. Landis still holds best time. At the moment, he looks as though he'll finish third or fourth on the stage now, and that's a great result for Floyd Landis. But the big four of this year's Tour de France have ridden their best here today. Unfortunately, Basso, the weakest of the time trialists in this group, is now losing his second place overall. As we're watching Lance Armstrong will bring this time trial to a victorious end here, and that's what it is now. We're waiting for the check coming up at 47.5 kilometers. Here comes Jan Ullrich. He's bridging almost a 3-minute gap. Look at that huge cheer to the line. Jan Ullrich, best time, 1:07:50, and that's the loudest cheer we've heard today. Again, the big cheers are rising as Cloden comes up to the line. He's had a pretty tough last sector here, and he's lost a little bit of time by the look of it as he goes back a little bit. But his second time as he comes home at 1:08:16, 26 seconds down in the end. He lost time there. Ullrich put in a great finish, 1:08:16.
I think you've got yourself into second place. How does that feel? I think you've gone fast enough for second place, Andreas.
When it's true, then I'm very, very happy.
That was a hell of a ride. How was it out there?
It was very, very hard. The last 3-4K, the wind comes from front, and yeah, I'm very dead.
Well done.
Basso has given everything left in his body today. It hasn't been enough, but like all Tour de France riders, they give everything they possibly can. They're all great professionals.
He's inside now, the last little section of the individual time trial. Armstrong will try and catch him, but he might not just do it before the finishing line. He doesn't really need to either as he come up and they start to straighten out. Basso is inside of the last 500 meters. He's tried and he's ridden the individual time trial of his life here this afternoon, and just around that corner the clock will stop for Ivan Basso, and almost as soon as he cuts the line we will see the shadow of the yellow jersey coming out of the gloom.
Well, Basso's time just now has gone by. Second place has left him in the Tour de France. The rest is how far he will now be behind Andreas Cloden, but he will be ahead of Jan Ullrich. He will be on the podium, but he's lost the second place finish. Huge sprint finish, and not by much, I have to say. He hits the line at 1:09:39, and now comes Lance Armstrong, again with all of his rivals under his nose, and the look at that time, 1:06:49. Lance Armstrong just confirmed his Tour de France win.
Look at that average speed as well, Phil. 49 kilometers an hour for Lance Armstrong. That is one of the fastest time trials we've had in the Tour de France over many, many years, and over this distance as well, 55 kilometers of racing. He has done what he wanted to do here this afternoon. He has confirmed his authority. He's banged on the table with his fist to say, I am the boss, I am the winner. The wearer of the yellow jersey needs to win the final time trial stage, and it's his 5th win at the Tour de France this year.
And there's the measure of his superiority. Exactly like Alpe d'Huez, Jan Ullrich the closest man to him, and exactly like Alpe d'Huez, 1 minute and 1 second behind. Andreas Cloden was third on the stage, but his race was with Ivan Basso, and he overtook the Italian to claim second overall. And look at the strength in depth of US Postal. With no team orders for once to save their legs for the leader, they placed a terrifying 6 men in the top 16.